Welcome everyone to the show. I'm your host Don Vic. We in the building, baby. You already know what it is, what it could be, and what it should be. Today we have three amazing guests coming on the show. I can't wait to bring them on the show. Phenomenal guests. These people got a lot of things going on with them. But last night was a great night, guys. I was out with my son downtown, and guess who we bumped in at the club? You will never guess. But I'm going to tell you. We bumped into Patriots player Julie Edelman last night at the club, and this guy is amazing. I would thought he would be taller than, what he was, because on TV, everything looks big, but, he's about my size, medium-sized guy, great guy. And, the fact that he came up to us, and started conversating with me, my son, and my other friend, Joey, was amazing. He's outgoing and funny. He is funny, okay? So he was out there with us at the club last night. We took a photo with him, and I just want to send a big shout out to Julie Edelman from the Patriots out here in Boston, Massachusetts. Woo, boy, I'm trying to tell you, I just keep bumping into all types of celebrities and football players, and I'll tell you. So today, guys, hi, Sandra. IG, what's up? IG, I got a rope here for you. So we got a great guest coming on today. This guy is an amazing guy. He's an actor, director, writer, producer, you name it, he's done it. He's been in this industry over 50 years. And today he actually is going to be here on the show, and we're going to talk to him and find out exactly what he's been doing for the past 50 years, what films he's produced, written, and and been in. So, people, please welcome the one and only, the Italian stallion, Robert Amico, to the show, guys. Robert. Okay. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing okay now that you're here.
All right. Let's rock.
Okay. So we know you're an actor, director, producer. You do it all. You've been in the business for over 50 years. Tell us what drove you to become an actor.
Oh boy. Um, well, I guess I was always a class clown, and I guess I was always entertaining the family and friends. You know how that is. But I don't think I ever wanted to be an actor. But I'll flash forward and give you the nutshell story. When I was a young hippie, hanging out in Greenwich Village, I hung out with Timothy Leary and Andy Warhol up at Timothy Leary's commune called Millbrook. And I was kind of shy, and I was a virgin, and my hormones were raging, but I was super shy. I couldn't even go near a girl. I couldn't even go
Wow.
near her. I'd be like Cliff Clavin on Cheers. Habada, habada. And all these beautiful hippie chicks, hippie girls, stoned and running around naked, and it was free love. I was 15 going on 16, hanging out and I bugged Timothy Leary and Andy Warhol for years being a virgin. Fast forward, 17 years old, and I'm in a Ukrainian 24-hour diner in the East Village in New York City, which the diner is still there. I can't believe it. I'm
Really?
talking, this is 1969. 1969. I can't believe
I
it.
was born in 69.
Well, you couldn't have been there then. But I'm having lunch. I'm still a virgin. I'm having
Okay.
lunch. Timothy Leary, Andy Warhol, and I don't know if you guys remember this because it's from my generation, not yours. The musician Lou Reed. Walk on the Wild Side. Do, 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 do. Anyway, We're having lunch, and who comes walking in but Lee Strasberg? And Andy goes, "That's what you have to do, Robert. To get over your shyness with women, you need to take acting classes." And they called Lee over to the table and said, "Lee, Bobby here would like to take acting classes with you." And Lee Strasberg looks at me up and down. He goes, "Okay, you come to my class Thursday night at Carnegie Hall." And here I am, over 50 years later. And I'm still a virgin.
Why is it so hard for me to believe that part?
Well, if it grows back, I am.
That's
And
so
that's how I
funny. Are you in character? Are you in character right now? Are you in character right now?
No, I'm me. I'm me. Are you in character?
A little bit.
Yeah, I can tell. So what else you
Okay.
want to know?
So we know that you was just accepted to the Marina Del Rey Film Festival uh,
Yes.
for June for a film that you directed, wrote, and produced. Tell us about that. Um, tell us
Yeah,
about that
Beyond
film.
the Veil. Beyond the Veil is an interesting project. My friend Raina Calvo, who started it and executive produced it and produced it with me, she needed a project to take her acting to the next level. So I said, "I'll write you one and I'll direct it." So that's how that started. And that went very well considering I shot that whole film in one day.
Wow, in one
It's not a
day.
feature. It's a 13-minute short. But we already had our premiere with it at the famous Chinese Grumman's Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard. So that was like an honor. And now this is the second festival we're doing it with. But I love it. What's so interesting about that is I wrote it, I produced it, I directed it, but I also have a really badass role in it. And it's so funny because we go to a screening before everybody's talking to me, they love me, and then when the screening's over, nobody will look me in the eye, nobody will talk to me because of the role I play in it. And that's all I'm going to say.
Okay, okay. So, is it all right for you to talk about your character? Uh,
Sure, sure. My character in it is only in one scene, but I am. The story is basically about a woman who starts having the flashbacks of her abuse from her father when she was a
oh,
child,
okay.
and how she deals with it. And I play her father. And there's one
Mm.
scene where I'm kind of like abusing her, black
Oh,
and white.
wow.
Yeah, and I look badass. No, so nobody would look me in the eye. It was done with taste. There's no graphic scenes, but I work like Hitchcock when I direct, and that is I leave it up to the emotions and the imagination of the audience, which is far more powerful than anything I can put up on the screen. Hitchcock would show a love scene. Them under the sheet, they're under the sheets. Then he would go to the clock, and you would hear them moaning and in ecstasy. Our imagination is so much more powerful than anything you can put on that screen. Everybody imagines that love scene differently. So that's the way I like to direct. To leave a lot to the imagination.
Right. So, knowing that you're actor, directing, writer, and producer, what do you love most doing? Do you love directing
I
more?
always say that changes every 5 minutes, but the acting is my thing. I'm doing that 50 years. The directing and producing and writing I'm doing since 1999. Don't get me wrong, I don't have a passion for it, but my thing is acting. I'm doing it. I have so many credits. I love it. Every time I get a job, every time I book a job, it feels like it's my first job, and I'm elated. And I've been doing this for 50 plus years. And since we talked, I booked 2 films in the last couple of days.
That's awesome.
I
That's
booked two
phenomenal.
films and one I'm a producer on too. So I
That's
keep
awesome.
busy, man.
I
It's a
see
moving
that.
time. It's like
I, I see that. So you're reciting
I
now,
just
and
directed, I just
I,
directed 2 more films. One I finished up this week, and another I just directed and shot last week, and now I'm in editing. Completely different, different executive producers, completely different projects. Not like it's with my production, co-production with my production company, but they're completely different projects. It's not like I'm just popping one off. They're different people asking me to direct, and
Okay.
so
Okay.
I'm going to be at the film festival all over the place.
That's a good thing.
Hopefully, I'll come to Boston. I'll come to Boston too.
Okay, yeah, come to my city because for people that know you reside in L.A., but you're originally from New York, right?
Brooklyn, New York. When you're from
Brooklyn,
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 everywhere
Brooklyn.
else is Tokyo.
From Brooklyn, New York, and because you
That's
told me
it.
the story, you was booked to come out to L.A. to do something with Spielberg, and
Yeah, that's how I got to LA. I did
yeah,
Hook for Spielberg 4.5 months every day. I was one of the pirates.
right,
I'm lucky if
and
I'm in the
and
film 1 second.
did you think you was gonna stay in L.A. that long?
Never. I'm still here.
Wow,
That was the end of 1990.
wow. So your
I just
career
kept
went.
working and working and working.
Wow, that's
In New
that's
York, it's
awesome.
hard to make you live. New York, Boston, anywhere else but LA, it's really hard to make you live it. You have a support job and then you do theater. I did tons of New York theater growing up there. Tons. I must have done about 60 plays off Broadway and off Broadway to work on my craft, to sharpen that knife, to keep the gate from getting rusty. And then when I got out here, it's like everywhere you go, there's a film. You can't walk 10 minutes without a film set. And you run into stars everywhere in the cleaners, in the 7-Eleven. I mean, it's all about the work. Yes, the
Right,
business has changed a lot, but still, it's all about the work.
right. Um,
Yeah,
uh, uh,
I love it.
what character have you played in the past, or now in the future that
Most of
reminds you
my
so
career, well, don't forget, I have a face made for radio. So, so, uh, so I play Colombian drug lords. Not now, as I got older, but most of my career I was Colombian drug lords, mafia hitmen, abusive father, abusive husband, bad guys. But in the last few years, I never get to do comedy, and I'm a pretty funny. I know I'm the comic Tommy, but I never get to do it. Only lately, as I got older, and my hair went gray, that I'm able to play more comedic roles. Like I have two films right now, one on Amazon Prime and one on Amazon Video. On Amazon Prime, I have Bad President, which is a comedy. I co-star with Eddie Griffin, and it's a spoof on Trump. That's a feature. And I also produce that. And on Amazon Video, I have a Hollywood.com, C-O-N. And that's with Tom Arnold and Brian Cruz and Mika Borma, a whole bunch of. Both of those are comedies. It's so joyful to do that comedy.
wow.
So that's the short answer.
Mm. You also, besides directing and writing and producing, you also teach,
Yes, I'm teaching
and
11 years.
coaching film.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't. I stopped it during COVID because I don't believe I teach everything Lee Strasberg taught me, the method, but I also use my spirituality to see the emotional blocks in my actors. So since COVID, I haven't taught because I just can't do what I do on Zoom. But hopefully, in the next month or two, I'm going to get back to teaching here in LA. I love that because I've learned from it so much, and my students worked, and I got them work, and also, between that, I'm a script doctor too, which is somebody who takes somebody's lousy script and makes it less lousy.
That's when I come in, the lousy script.
That's what. Yeah, I see a lot of stuff. I've learned. I've done about 14 feature scripts already. I've fixed for people, and there's always a pattern. New people always try and write a screenplay like a novel, and they put in too many adjectives and try and describe the scene. Well, film is a visual medium, and you don't have to put everything in a dialogue. You put it in the visual of the camera. You use the dialogue when you can't show it on camera. So there's a big difference. So I always have to correct that. And then people's spelling and structure, script, you know, with a screenplay, if it's not by the Hollywood standard, and that's a book to write by, you could have the best screenplay in the world, but if it's not in the right standard of the way they look at it, readers reject it no matter how good it is. And it's got to be a certain length. Comedy should never be over 93 pages. Uh, uh, um, you need big budget if you shoot over 110 pages on a drama. You need a bigger budget. You can't do independent stuff like that because time is money. So that's
Right.
all the stuff that I fix on people's screenplays. So
Mm.
I do that. But my love is my career in acting. It always was, it always will be. I grew
Right.
up at 17 years old around all the greats. Brando, Pacino was in my class, Tony Franciosa, Carl Malden. I just grew up, they're all gone now, but Paul Newman was my mentor at
Paul
Acting
Newman.
Studio. Paul Newman, yes.
Oh, great actor. Great
Wonderful,
actor.
wonderful person. He was very, very kind to me. Very
Yeah.
kind.
You know.
So in gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What else you want to know?
Well, you have three recent films festival short films um
I
beyond
just
the
shot a feature too. I just shot a feature just before Christmas, a faith-based, beautiful, beautiful Christmas film in Indiana, and I'm hoping that's going to come out by the end of the year here. And then I'm leaving for Indiana July 11th to shoot the one of the leads in a really, really great dark comedy script called Live, Laugh,
and die.
Die. And that's a trilogy, so I'm in two of the three. But I play the lead. The other lead guy is a nice guy whose girlfriend treats him like shit and breaks up with him. I'm his conscience, so only he sees me and only the audience sees me. The characters in the film do not see me. And I
Oh,
push him to become a serial killer. Kill that girl first and then just go on a spree and kill people. And we take it that ride to the point where he gets so serious with it. Me, his conscience, who started all, is telling him to back off. It's a wonderful, wonderful script. I can't wait to shoot it. I'm shooting in Kentucky, Indiana, and I think a little bit of Arkansas in July.
hmm.
So
Okay.
always
That's
busy, always busy.
yeah. I see that. Um,
I got six features I'm executive producing in development. Three of them I wrote. One of those I have Bill Duke directing for me. Two of those I have Dominique Swain starring in them for me. Dominique Swain did the remake of Lolita, but everybody probably knows her either from opposite Justin Timberlake and Alpha Dogs or in uh, John Travolta's crazy daughter in Face Off.
Face Off.
Yeah. So I got
That's one of my favorite movies. Face Off. I can
yeah,
watch that over and over and over again.
yeah. She plays the crazy daughter, so she loves the way I write, and she wants to do all my films. So I'm not gonna
That's
fight her. She's
awesome.
a wonderful actress, great star.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. I love it. This business is amazing. But my secret is I have a lot of faith and trust. I know by the universe and God, I was given this talent, so I have faith and trust that I'll have the ability to use it, and I don't get in that negative because never let them see you sweat, and that's how my career takes off. But I'm a
Right.
very spiritual person, and I trust that. So it's hard for others to do when you have to pay that rent tomorrow, and or in next weekend you don't have any of the money for it. But I've been in that situation with my trust, and the only time I didn't trust I remember the time as an actor, I'm out here in LA and I'm looking at the last nickel that I have. No money in the bank, a nickel, and I got a bag of rice in the cabinet, and I start to cry. And
Wow.
before the tear came all the way down my face, the phone rang, and it was an AM radio station. They said I just won $2,000. They took my name out of the phone book, and I never had lost faith again.
Wow. God is great. God,
Yeah,
God
I'm
is
meant to
great.
do it, so I'm doing it.
That's awesome. That's
What do you have to know? That's heavy.
so you started writing and producing in 1999. Um, and your first professional award-winning film was called Life.
Imitates art.
Yeah. How was that?
That was that there's another level of stress on making that. Not only being my first film, not only directing, producing, and starring in every scene, and I got to take that hat up, back and off, but it was also a 48-hour film as part of a 48-hour film festival. So I went in on a Friday night at 8 o'clock and picked a genre out of a hat. And on Sunday night at 8 o'clock, I had to return the finished film, composed, cut, everything. 32 people took on the challenge, only 12 returned film. I was one of them. So that's what Life Imitates Art is. Then I took it to festivals. It screened around the world. It was in Kiev. I went to Kiev, in
Okay.
Ukraine. It was all over. It was in China. It was everywhere.
Wow.
So, but I will never do that again. A 48 hour. That was stressful. Being I was doing it all.
Yeah. Did you do it by
But
yourself? Did you have any help?
oh, I had a crew. Are you kidding me? My composer came through. I had to give the composer had 4 hours to come up with a complete score, and he put a score that had live strings, a whole orchestra in it, and got it back to me. And I literally got the. There was a table set at the old ArcLight Cinedome on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, and had a table set up to record the films. And if you showed up eight 8 p.m. on Sunday, 1 minute past, you were disqualified. So I got there 10 minutes before, but I sat there and I watched people come up. And then I remember seeing this one guy, and I'm looking at my watch, and he's got 40 seconds, and he's a heavy guy, and he's running up with the tape in his hand, running up, and he falls. And the bell
Wow.
goes off. The bell goes off, and he didn't make it to the table and hand it to them by 2 seconds, and they disqualified him. His face, I'll never forget it.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Eh,
So that's Life Imitates Art. Yeah.
Yeah. So being a director, what would you say is the toughest part of directing?
Well, I think actors make natural directors because they know dialogue. So that's good. The toughest part about directing is communicating to the actor what I want and trying to convince him to do it. An actor's job is not for us to come up with the character. We come up with the character, but under the parameters of what the director wants. Our job is to be able to communicate with the director and know what he wants. A lot of actors in this generation don't know that, don't know how to do that. And a lot of directors in this generation are more about the technical of getting all of that perfect, but don't know how to direct actors. The old timers like Coppola and Spielberg and Scorsese know how to work with an actor. They know how to pull that performance out. So I guess my biggest challenge as a director, and the biggest challenge for any director, is pulling the performance of what I want to my canvas. When you're a director, it's my canvas. When I produce or I write and produce, I give it up to the director. I pick a director I trust, and even if he wants to make changes in my ending, even though I don't think I should, I make the decision that it's better to do his and have him into the project than to do what I want and then he shuts off and he just calls in the job. I like when everybody is in love with the project and doing their 100% to make it better.
Mm. Wow. How many takes you think it takes average actor to get it right? Two, three takes,
Depends
four
on the
takes?
actors. Now I just shot The Wonder of Love. It's a sequel to the award-winning Chains That Bind I directed, and we're probably going to go forward and continue with 4 or 5 shorts and put them together into a feature. So the actors in this that I shot 2 weeks ago, I shot 17 pages in two
Mm.
days, and I was ahead of schedule. Why? Because my actors were brilliant. They were able to do master shots of 3-page scenes without a flub. So the most takes I've done on any camera angle was 2.
Mm.
So I knew what I wanted. I knew my actors can do it. I knew where my edits were going to be, and I blew it out. I was just, doing a on paper cut of the footage before we hooked up here, and I'll go back to it. And the hardest part is Everything, every angle, every performance is so damn good. This is a hard one to edit. But with this one, the Wonder of Love, I'm going for an Academy Award with it.
Wow, that's
Because
amazing.
if you get in one of the 12 qualifying film festivals, that allows you to submit for a nomination. So I'm going. This one looks so good. So I hope to
Mm.
have this at festivals in about 3 4 weeks.
Wow,
So
that's
I'll have
amazing.
three at festivals. I also have one called Voices I just direct. But I love it because there's only one actor in it and he plays three roles. And in some of the scenes, he has scenes with his other two selves. I shot it in plates. And you can't
Really?
see the plate. I'm so proud of it. So there's all three different characters he plays doing a scene with each other.
Wow.
And the hardest part of that was lining up the eye lines because you shoot one, then you shoot the other, then you shoot the other, and you cut them together in slices. It's called plates. It's really
Mm.
amazing. I learned a
Wow.
lot. Now it's called Voices. And it's like a 4 minute film that's going to start going to festivals as of next week. So I'm a
Wow.
busy boy.
Yeah, I see that. So when you write your scripts or when you write a script for an actor, do you want them to say it word for word, or you kind of let them prov a little
No,
bit?
I want them to not let me see them acting, and they can improv. But if they improv, they have to say the same words when I'm doing the other angles. Otherwise, I can't cut it together.
Right,
You
right,
say one thing in one cut, and in the other cut, when it's on you in a close up, and you're saying something else, it's hard to put it together
right.
without ruining the story. So I like them to stay to it, but I'm not one of these things. I remember doing a play in New York, and I had the the playwright. It's really bad in theater when the playwright is the director, and he wanted me to say every and I'm going, come on, man. I came into this project 2 weeks ago. I'm off book on 99 pages. I'm in every scene. You're gonna bust my chops over a and Come on. I'm living and
Wow,
breathing the character up there.
wow.
So
It's so hard. Acting is not easy. I just want to put that out there. A lot of people think acting is easy. You go to the
if
camera,
you're
you
trained, it's easy.
right, right. So
But
you
I
know,
go to so many parties, and I have a line for it now. I go to so many parties, and everybody comes up to me and goes, "Oh, I decided I'm going to be an actor, and I got to really nail them." And I go, "Oh, really? That's funny because I decided I want to be a brain surgeon. Can I open up your head next week?" No, you want me to have training, don't you? You don't hire a carpenter, and now in this business, you got hip hop artists and sports celebrities starring in films. But my
yeah.
opinion on all that is, you don't hire a carpenter to do your plumbing.
Oh, of course not. You know, it's not going to be right. It's not.
Well, the
It's just,
editor, the editor and the director, if they're good, can make it right, but it's a hassle, and you
right.
compromise
It's
because
just
you want to
more
hire
work.
a really good actor. And let me tell you something: a lot of stars can't act. When I'm working with them, I'm like, holy shit, I'm carrying them on my back. And sometimes I
Right.
get fired because I burn up the freaking scenery, and they can't
Mm.
act, and they get jealous.
Right.
And they have done that. I'm not going to say who, but I've had screaming matches with the star. They
Wow.
started it. They started
Right.
it, and I was humble because I respected them. But then when they come back to me and they're making all the mistakes, and they say I need to take acting classes, I lost. I
Mm.
lost them. That
Right.
person got upset, locked themselves in a room for 2 hours.
Right.
I don't
So,
care.
so would you say that anyone that wants to become an actor should take acting classes?
Of course, because you may get a couple of roles and you may even be good, but you need to be able to endure it alone. And otherwise, you're just going to play the same thing all the time. You're not going to have anything that challenges you, and you're going to put a burden on your director and writer and everything else. It's always good to have acting classes. You got to know how to get up the emotions. Then it's good to also get on camera classes because a lot of theater actors cannot do film because theater is projecting to the back seats and film is the eyes. It's internal. It's about in here. You see me smoldering. You see me burning in my eyes. I'm holding it in. So once you learn the craft of acting, like for stage, then you got to learn how to work a camera. Some people are natural on a camera and they look wonderful. Me, I'm one of the types that has to work the camera. I have to know my camera angle and work it. But there are
Right.
people that can poop on a camera and it looks beautiful.
Right. So my friend Charlotte Hug says, Bob, you sound like a Bronx guy to me. You're funny.
Brooklyn, baby, Brooklyn,
He's from
not the
Brooklyn,
Bronx.
Charlotte. He's from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, darling.
Yeah, she's actually from New York as
You
well.
know, when people don't understand Brooklyn people, oh, good for you. In Brooklyn, you gotta understand Brooklyn. And I'll explain Brooklyn like this. In Brooklyn, there is no suicide. Because if you get to the point where I'm going to kill somebody, it's the guy screwing with me, not myself. I'm not stupid.
Right.
And that's how you explain Brooklyn. We don't take prisoners. I'm sure Bronx too.
Bronx Tale. Bronx Tale, okay? I
But
love
I
that
have
movie.
plenty of friends that hang out on Arthur Avenue. I know all about the Arthur Avenue scene.
You've been there. You know,
Been there, done that.
that's right.
I
Oh
know
my
every
goodness.
inch of New York City. I've been to every inch of New York City. All the dark spots, anything you could ever name that is still there or has not been there for 20 years.
Right. So I have Sandra A. Smith, which is a director. She's coming on a show on tomorrow at 3 p.m. She says, I enjoy all of it. Writing, producing, directing, and
Yep,
acting. I am passionate
yep.
about what I do as an award-winning filmmaker.
You go, girl. You just stick by your beliefs. You stick even through the hard times. You stick. And as a writer and director, you stick by what your project is. A lot of times, people want to take a script and make it what they think it should be. It's not a correction on your story. They want to make it their story. Hold out. Don't let that happen.
Right, right. Charlotte
But
says,
I love anybody who has the courage to finish a film, no matter how it looks.
right, right. Charlotte says, I meant to say Brooklyn. All your friends moved up here where I live.
Where's that? Boston?
No, she's in New York.
Where?
New York. She's in New York, Charlotte.
Where in New York?
I think it's Uptown New York, somewhere in New York.
Okay, so she's saying everybody comes to New York. Of course they do. You learn your craft in New York, you apply it in LA. I mean,
Oh,
everybody wants
Beacon.
to say, "Oh, the work is in Atlanta, the work's in Miami." Oh, Beacon, New York. Beacon. So you're upstate New York.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. I spent a lot of time in the Catskills and Woodstock and all of that. I had friends that had hotels, so I know upstate New York. I know Binghamton. I spent a lot of time there. So yeah, I love all of New York. New York's great. Long
Right.
Island. I spent a lot of time in Long Island.
Oh yeah, Long Island. Tell me about the film uh Becoming a Man.
Becoming a man is a project because I was mentoring this kid since he's 12 to be
Right.
an actor and to be a director and producer. He's like the next Spielberg. And when he was 16, he asked me to write him a film, to direct. So I wrote Becoming a Man. It's a story of a young Hispanic guy, young, who has to make the choice between the family, honor, and the gangs.
Wow.
And he directed it, and then he talked me into starring in it with the other lead actor to be the uncle. And everything has a price, and I just wanted to show that it has a price. Sometimes it's too late. You think you're going to make an adjustment and get out of the gangs, but there's a price. And in that particular film, the price was the death of his favorite uncle, me. Heavy
Mm.
film. It went to a lot of festivals, won a lot of awards. But this kid was brilliant. 16-year-old kid directing it by himself. I never said a thing to what to do or what shot to take unless I saw something that was really, really off, and I just whispered in his ear. I let him do his own thing. There's kind of a rape scene done with dignity and taste with a young girl that we shot up in the LA forest. We guerrillaed it, and we had no lighting. All we had was 12 digital flashlights, and we lit the whole thing like that. This kid
Wow.
was so talented. And then he was editing and shooting all my films. But then he gave up the business, and I'm so sad about it. And now he just has a regular job, sold all his equipment. I feel so bad.
Yeah.
But
It's
everything is.
it's not it's not
Everything
easy.
has. No, it's never easy, and everything
Right.
has a reason. I quit. Hey, ah, I was 19 and I quit the business and came back at 34 because the, my wife that I was marrying was so jealous. I'm a musician too, all my life since I'm 6. I'm a child prodigy. I play 2 to 3 hours every day, even now.
Wow.
And and, uh, and I gave up my music, sold my guitars and my amps. I gave up my acting to be married to her for 5 years. And I came back to it in 1984 in my 30s. I let the best years go. The best years in your acting career are like 18 to 28.
Right. Wow.
Well, it is
Wow.
what it is. There's a reason.
Also, Oscar night in 2018. I seen
Oh, what a beautiful film. That's still waiting. It's going to come out in distribution too, but that's screened in all over Europe. They loved it in Palermo, Sicily. That is such a beautiful film. The cool thing about that film is it's made to believe like it's about this famous director, Oscar Knight. And but it's not real. It's fictional. But the way the film is shot, when people see the film, they go to IMDb and they're looking for Oscar Knight and they can't find it and they're so confused. And it
uh,
has stars from the past that say they play themselves that they work with Oscar Knight through the decades. And I play a modern action film star that wins the Academy Award over Oscar Knight. It's a beautiful, beautiful film. It's funny. It's poetry. It's really wonderful. I can't wait till it comes out.
uh,
Yep.
wow. And
Dear
you,
Miss, the Oscar Knight.
yeah, I was watching it. Um,
You can see
so
clips of it if you go to you Google it. You can see a
right,
clip
right,
of Becoming a Man, the opening scene on my IMDb.
right.
Um, yeah,
What are
can't tell
some
you.
of them? Yeah, what are some of the movies that you played in?
Hook. I was in Demolition Man. I had a great scene with Sly Stallone. I rob a car. He chases me. I crash the car. We have a big fight scene in the street, and then he drags me up the street, and they cut it out. They
Wow,
cut it out. But it was so good to hang out with Sly. But nobody ever knows this. But in the fight scene, he broke my rib, and I kept going. I didn't say a word
wow,
because he would never do the same choreography in the fight the same. And the last take that we used, he walks right into my punch, and I split Sly Stallone's lip.
wow.
I thought I was never going to work in this industry again. Oh, Bobby, that was really good. Don't worry about my lip, okay? But he never knew that he broke my rib. I just went home like, oh, oh. 8 millimeter was my scene. I had a great scene with Nick Cage when he's looking for the girl that he's looking for, and he comes to my office. I'm a sleazy casting director smoking a cigar, and I'm having a casting scene. I'm just kind of blowing them off and blowing smoke, like a 3-page scene. But they cut it in a way that it looks like he's knocking on a hotel door, and then our dialogue they put music over it. C'est la vie, the story of an actor. But yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I did 4 episodes of CSI guest star
Oh,
when with the Lawrence Fishburne when Lawrence Fishburne was on, and he was obsessed with the serial killer that was killing people. I don't know. I know if there's CSI fans, they know what I'm talking about. I was the first killer by the serial killer. He tied my intestines in a knot. So I'm
wow.
in 4 episodes of that. That was kind of fun working on CSI. Larry Fishburne was so cool.
That must be exhausting to be on set, for hours. Because I know that sometimes you called in to come do a shoot, and sometimes you're sitting there for 4 or 5 hours before you
Yeah,
even.
sometimes 12 hours, and then you got to do this scene. You're sitting eating bagels, and your day is already shot. You got to save in your little storage area. You got to save energy for when you do the scene, no matter what you're doing. I mean, that's the way I do it. Everybody's got their own method to their madness. That's mine, you know. That's
Mm.
mine. I try not to, if it's early in the day and I know I'm shooting the last scene of the day, I'll chat it up with people. But when we start getting closer, I just disappear. I don't need to work on my lines because I memorize them again. I need to work on my character. Be
Mm.
one with the character. I mean, Dustin Hoffman, when I did Hook with him, he was Captain Hook. His wife said that he was a big pain in the ass through shooting that whole thing 4.5 months. He was Captain Hook. He was pinching the girls in the supermarket, and he was shouting orders to everybody. He stayed in character about 10%, even in his regular life. Yeah, she said I couldn't wait till he was done shooting Hook. He was so annoying.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you find yourself in a character sometimes in your real life, just talking to people, and you find yourself acting like one of the actors you played?
No, I don't find myself, but I am a character, and I find myself in all different characters. I'm a one-off, that's for sure. There's nobody like me in the world.
No, there's only one
I'm
Robert. Yeah,
different, but I like to say I'm a good different. But that's it. Everything in this role, you just go in there and audition, and you make them want you. There were times I went in and I said, "Can I read for this?" They go, "You don't have a role. Just let me roll for this, read for this," and it would be like a, a black female DA, and I just do it, and I would book it. You wait for a white guy, and you got to convince them that a woman could be a lawyer too, a woman could be a fireman, now a woman could be a soldier. You got to convince them with
yeah,
your performance.
right.
I have
I
little
heard.
tricks that I teach as far as audition is a separate process from acting. It's a part of it, but it's just booking you to work so you can act. So there's little cheats I teach my students, and I'll give everybody one now. I'm a really good co-reader. If you hand me a script right now, I can read it really well. I've read thousands of scripts over my years. I'm real good at just give me it. So if they go like, and this happens to every actor, here, I want you to look at this other role. Look at the script and come back in 5 minutes. I go, no. Is it okay if I do it right now? Why would you want to do it right now? Don't you want to look at it? No, I want to show you that I can immerse myself in the character ASAP. When I do that, I know I'm a great co-reader, and I'll book it like that because they know.
Right,
I want to make sure that they know that I'm not even looking at the script. The first time I'm reading the script is me reading it to them, and they saw what I can do. They go, "Wow, what can this guy do when he studies the script?" Little
right,
tricks.
right. Because I was going to ask you, like, when you read a script, do they tell you what the character, how, who the character is, what he's like, or do you have to read the script, and figure out what
They give
he's
you a
like?
general. Both. They give you a general, but they're usually the smart ones are kind of open to what you come up with, and then they tune you. The biggest problem that actors have is when they get the callback, they're so close to booking the film. And then what happens in the callback, and actors take it personal and they screw it up every time. Hundreds, thousands of actors have done this since the beginning of acting. And that is, you do the scene the same way you did it in the first audition. That's what got you the callback. And then the director goes, okay, I want you to do it this way. Everybody takes it personal. Oh my God, I screwed up. And and they're stuck in their head with doing it that way. They think they didn't do it right, so they keep attempting to do it that way. He directs you to do it differently. What the director is doing, he already knows that you can act. He wants to see if you can take direction. And that's why he's doing that. Every actor falls into that negative feeling of, oh, I screwed up. No, he's testing to see if he changes it completely different, 180 degrees. He wants to see if you can. Because if you can't on a set, time is money and you had the role and you lost it because of the way you react to this. You know that he's changing it up to see if you could do what he asks, and that's where the
Mm.
actors fail. They had the job and they lost it on that. That's a big tip for actors out there.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Did-
there's
did-
little psychological tips too. I mean,
Yeah.
people's biggest problem, my problem too, is I do the work. If I come into an audition, I can walk right into the place, walk right into the room and audition. I'll book everything I audition. But no, you got to sit in that waiting room and everybody's blabbering and they're talking about their barbecue last week. But you need to stay true to the fact that if you did the work and you know your memorization on the lines, let them all chat and you just sit there. When it comes time for you to call your name and like Robert, and I go in the room, I stand up, I take a deep breath and I hold it. And when I walk into the room, over the threshold into the room for everybody, and the door closes behind me, I let that breath of fresh air out. All this, I don't know how it works, but all the stuff that happened in that room back there has no effect on
Wow.
tricks. And when you leave the audition, while you're in there, you decide which one of those 7 or 8 people that are in there are going to be the one that truly makes the decision. And when you grab the doorknob to leave, you look back at him with confidence and just, give him a confident look. Psychology is a big part of booking work. Make them want you. Never beg,
Right.
never let them see you complain. Never sorry in your auditions. There's 2 things that people do. They say after their audition, they say, "I'm sorry. Can I do it again?" And it's like, don't ever apologize. Just say, can I have another take at it? And another thing is, newbie actors, they're always doing this when they get nervous. They're slapping their thighs, whether they're standing there or not. Now listen to that sound. It gets annoying. You can't shoot a film with that sound. They stand there and they go, yeah, well, I come from Brooklyn, but I moved to LA. Dead. That's dead in the audition. So I just gave like a month of acting classes. One thing, if an actor listens to those things I just said here right now, and they apply it in the next audition, they're going to see their career go up one notch.
Amazing.
Honestly, amazing.
Amazing. And say let's say some actor wants to uh get some classes from you or some for you to coach them. Where can they go or what link can they go to?
Depends what city they're in. I only know New York and LA. And New York, they're all dying. All the older ones are dying in LA. Me, I teach. I will never have more than 9 people in my class because I want everybody to work. We do everything. Alan Miller is good here. I know him from Actors Studio. Um, in New York, I don't know. I think everybody's gone that I was with. I'm not so sure. I could find out if somebody wants to know. But I'm going to start my classes in about 3 weeks to a month here in LA, probably in Studio City, which is kind of central to everywhere. Um, Classes are good. Classes are with me. I'm not only a teacher. I become their den mother. They can call me anytime in the middle of the night because their boyfriend broke up with them and the emotions are affecting their acting. I get them work. I find them agents and managers. I even put them in my project. So
Mm, that's
it's.
awesome.
I think it's good to bounce around, from teachers because the one thing I know about teaching, whether it's teaching music and guitar or it's teaching and then from studying as an actor, is every teacher will give you everything but the last step to make you even with them. You got to get that last step from the next one.
Mm,
So you got to know when it's time that you got everything out of that teacher and want to move on. It could be 3 months, it could be 10 years.
right.
Everybody goes at a different pace. But in my classes, I've had in the same class somebody that's 78 and somebody that's 6 years old.
Wow.
So,
You know, you know,
but I'm
Robert.
tough. I call them out. I call them because nobody ever calls them out. Everybody says, "Oh, that was nice. That was nice," and I don't do it in a negative way. I do like, "That was good. It's a great start, but try this, and this." I never talk negative. A lot of teachers really rip you a new one. They really, and then you'll close off, and then you're never going to give a performance the rest of that day. You're all closed off. You treat people with honey. You try and explain to them what they're doing wrong so they can learn from it. Like, what the fuck was that? You should be a garbage man. You shouldn't be acting. What is that? That's mostly the old time teachers. I had a Russian teacher that hit me with his cane once, and I was a tough Brooklyn street kid. He hit me with the cane twice. I said, "Listen, you little fucker. If you, he was like an old Russian guy, the old school. I said, if you hit me with that cane once more, I'm gonna break it in half and shove it up your bum. I don't care who you are. You can't do that. You gotta do it from love.
Right. So
Yeah.
we have a guest. We have a guest here. Lawrence Monroe says, "How long does it take to learn a script?"
For me, because of all the New York theater I did, there are times when I was replacing somebody else and I had 2 weeks to learn 99 pages and I'm on every page. But the best way is to break into soaps because soaps require a lot of memorization. And you go in, you do your work, you finish at 6, 7 at night every day. You got to come in the next day. You got 25 more pages of script that you got to go home and study. And then you study it and you come in and first thing in the morning they give you new pages. And you got like a half hour to make the adjustments in your head. But if people have trouble with memorization, the best way to key it in and start, because you always get better, is to get an old Sony Walkman. Remember the Walkmans?
Yeah. Yes.
Remember those where they have the little cassette tapes?
Yeah.
And you go to Radio Shack and you see, or somewhere online, you can buy loop tapes, like 1 minute loop tape, 3 minute loop tape, 5 minute loop tape, 10 minute loop tape, and you put your dialogue and the dialogue of the person with the scene on the tape yourself, and you pick the loop tape that fits it. If the scene's 1 minute, you use a 1 minute loop tape. If it's 3 minutes or 2 minutes, you use a 3 minute loop tape. And then you put on the headphones when you go to sleep and let the tape play all night in your ears. And when you wake up, you've got that scene memorized in the subconscious.
Oh, that's that's awesome because I always wondered, Robert, how do people like yourself, Denzel Washington, how do you memorize so many, lines?
Well, it's like
Um,
this. It's easy because you do the work for weeks on memorization. Then you trust that you have it. Then all you have to do is not wait for your cue line like an actor, but be the character and listen to what the other actor is saying, and you'll know what they're saying. Get your line, you'll remember because you're just in a conversation, and all you have to do is answer what he asks, and that's it. All you have to do is listen. We're not really actors, like Lee Strasberg said. We're reactors. And that's why when I teach I'm called the Reactors Studio, because we're reactors. We react to what the other person says.
right.
Heavy.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this because I'm an actor as well, and I
Yeah.
gotta. I'm
You got a
heading
lot of
out.
tips for that.
Yeah, I'm heading out to Baltimore on the 4th of June to go shoot a film. I play a character named Buck.
Oh, good.
Uh, yeah, and it's
Barry
based on
Levinson Town and John Waters Town.
yeah, it's based on a human trafficking thing. The film
Oh,
is
good.
so I'll be playing Buck, but I'm glad you gave me those tips because I do have a problem
Well, I hope I
sometimes.
helped you with your memorization.
Oh, you did. Yeah, you did 100%. Definitely the cassette. The
Most of the
cassette.
time, most of the time, people always have the lines down, and the only thing that kills you is getting nervous. So if somebody gets nervous, I dislike the director that jumps on and says, "What the fuck you doing?" Because then you shut down. Then you're never gonna be able to say lines all the way through. You have to do it in pieces. But listen to the other actor. Have faith that you know the lines, and do whatever it takes not to get nervous. But that just takes experience. I'm more
Right.
comfortable on a set. If I could be on a set all my life, I'd be the happiest person in the world. I'm more comfortable on a set or on a stage than I am in real life because I'm a
Yeah.
peculiar guy. I'm different.
Yeah. And and it's funny,
Yeah,
Robert,
you'll
because
do good though. You'll do well.
yeah, yeah. My friend Lawrence Monroe, which is on the live here. We went to go shoot a film one time, and he had a line to play. It was like a small paragraph, but you know, it was like his second time, and so we're like, action. And so everybody's saying their part, and when it comes to his part, he was like, and it was just so funny.
It happens to all of us. It
Yeah,
happens to all of us. Yeah, there's bloopers on every shoot.
yeah, you
It's
know.
just that you gotta find what keeps you from getting nervous. I don't get
Mhm.
nervous anymore because I'm doing this so much. But you know, I always keep the lines on me. I mean, here's the way I do my study. Everybody has a different way. I take my lines and I just write my lines, and I put a dash at the beginning of every one where there's a space where the actor. And that's how I start working on my lines first. I just work on my lines. Then I go back to the script and work on the overall scene. And then when we rehearse, before we shoot, I put it all together. But here's another little trick that'll help you because you're so overwhelmed because you're in 32 scenes. Always ask before that day for the call sheet and what order they're shooting and what scenes, and you only work on those scenes. And it's always hardest at the beginning of the day to get into character. So that's the scene you work on first and the hardest, the first one of the day. And you want to know what's the first scene of every day when you get to set. Not like, what are we doing now? Then you got to sum it up because then you have to study immensely every scene. But I go day by day. I mean, I
Right.
studied everything, but I go by day in the intensity. If I know these are the only 3 scenes I'm going to shoot today, those are the only 3 scenes I'm going to work on today. To refine it. I worked on the whole script when I was home, but now that we're shooting, I want the call sheet before I come in the next day, and I want to know what I'm shooting. I want to know what the first shot of the day is, and that's the thing I put all the work in. Because I don't have time while they're lighting to work on the next one. But I want that first one to be
Right.
good, get me into character solid. Right. But I'm going to give you one more audition tip, and this one is works for me so well. Everybody, when it's their time and they're up there, and don't forget, they're seeing people every day, and you're on the stage auditioning for this role, and the director and producer are out there, and they saw so many people, they're so bored. So doing something different really sucks them in. But everybody, because I know this from the producing end when I'm auditioning people, I'm hiring a studio to people come in and audition. The second they say action, they jump right in. But that doesn't work as an actor. I'll tell you why. Here's the analogy. We're going to have a drag race with a car, and big money's on the line. That car is sitting by the lights, waiting for it to go green, revving the engine. Vroom, vroom, vroom. As soon as the light turns green, he's going to take off. Who's going to win the drag race? I have the talent to be able to be all the way back 200 yards, and I floor the car to the point where when I hit that light, it turns green that instant. So when he's starting from zero, I'm at 60 miles an hour. Who's going to win that race? Me.
Oh,
Because
you
I'm
are.
already got that car
Yeah.
revving, and I hit that light, it's going to turn green. That's the same thing with an audition. People jump right into the dialogue. Not me. Let's say my first line in the audition is, "I love my mom and I miss her so much." Everybody will go, "All right, action. I love my mom and I miss her so much." Not me. I got to get that. I got to start back further and get that up to 60 miles an hour. Okay, with me. Okay, Robert, action. I love my mother. I miss her. I blow them away because nobody does that. Nobody waits. They all stop and look up because there's silence. Because a lot of them, after all day, they're not even looking at you when you audition. But all they
Right.
hear is nothing. So they want to know what's going on. When they look up and they see what I'm doing, I'm I'm building up my character before I say the first line. I book it. I book it. But the only time that's going to work is when you have the first line in the audition. That books it.
Mm, that's awesome.
Tricks. Auditions need tricks. Acting needs talent.
Right. So
Oh, and
what's
here's another thing too. When you're in with a casting director or interviewing with a casting director or interviewing with an agent for them to rep you, never go down this path, but 90% of the people do. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Well, I'm an actor. I was on stage in this. No, not that stuff. That's all on your resume for them to see. They want to know, where did you grow up? Do you have any hobbies? What's your pets? They want to get a feel of your personality. Biggest
right?
mistake actors make. That agent was going to rep them, and now they're like, oh man, he doesn't get it. He's too narcissistic in his ego. It's hard to break that because everything is on your resume. Hopefully, you don't need
Yeah.
to talk about it again. What film you did when they said, "Tell me about yourself." They want to know. Yeah, I got this beautiful little dog, and I love photography, and I really like to travel, and I've been going to China a lot every year. You know,
Yeah.
because you might hit on a commonality with that person. If you're a dog lover and they're a dog lover, they need to know. That's just like when you're looking for an agent, do your research on the agent. Find some commonality. If you both like dogs and you work in shelters or you both like photography, that's a commonality. That agent's going to rep you.
Mm,
All right,
right.
you want to ask a question? Go for it. Because I know you got the other guys in waiting.
Yeah. So what's next for you? What's on the agenda?
Well, I got to finish up editing this film now, the sequel to Change of Mind, the Wonder of Love, and get it to festivals. Then I got to start working on my script for Live, Laugh, Die in Kentucky because I mean I got 99 pages. I'm in every scene,
Wow.
and after that, I don't know. I got stuff lined up. I got about 8 films I'm attached to when the money comes through, features. I've just been asked. I'm a producer on a short being done in San Jose, but I don't have to be on the set. I'm just on the phone helping them put it together, and I get a supervising producer on it. And then I got this morning I got offered another directing another short. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I just take it whatever I could fit in between the other stuff. But the acting is basically my paying my bills.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, I
But I'm old enough now that I'm feeling like crazy.
so I want to thank you for coming on the show, Robert.
And my social security. Sure, I hope I help the people out there. You know, all your people can. I'm on Facebook. You can Facebook me, and then you can follow up all the things I have to say. You know, I got my thought for the day, and you always see me hanging out with some stars or something. Last week was Gary Oldman, and we hooked back up. The last time I saw him was on the film Dracula. We played chess all day, and we hooked up. I went to the
Wow.
screening and reception and dinner with him in the cast for his new show, something horses, slow horses, on Apple TV. And I just do that. I get invited to events every day here in Hollywood. I go to maybe 50% of them, and then I just get bored. But I'm going to one tonight. I went to one last night. I went to one Wednesday. I didn't go to one Thursday. I skipped it, and I went to one Sunday with Gary. So I try and get out and do my schmoozing thing. Because in California, you don't get work from auditioning. If you are auditioning in California, you know nobody, and you're not primed as an actor. I get all my work hanging out in cafes and people come up to me, networking. That's the way people get
Yes.
work in LA. You meet producers and
Network.
they see you're a real person. They can tell you're an actor. You know, it's funny. I'm an actor. Some woman the other day, I'm going for this one. This is funny. A woman the other day said, "You know, when you walked in the room, you lit up the room." Little does she know is I tripped and hit the light switch.
That's good. I like that one, Robert. That was good.
But when you're at a party, when you're at a party and Dustin Hoffman is standing over there and everybody's crowding around him and asking him all about Tootsie and The Graduate, and he's really bored. He sees me standing off, ignoring him. He wants to know not only why I'm in. This is acting psychology 101. You got to treat them like they're children, and you work like crazy. He's going to come over to me because he's want to try and figure out if I'm not kissing his ass, I may be a level ahead of him, and he wants to know. who I am, big finance, and he's gonna come over to me. So I don't kiss anybody's butt, and that brings them to me. They always walk over to me, and I believe in what they call the three strikes rule. And the three strikes rule is you go to an event, you meet Steven Spielberg. Everybody wants to throw a card in his face. Everybody wants to talk about his films. Everybody wants to give him a script. Everybody wants to give him their headshot. Three strikes rule. The first time, you never even talk about his films or acting. You talk about the Dodgers. You talk about the Patriots. You talk about anything else, and you let him go. No matter how much the resistance is that you don't want to let him go. You want him to know who you are. Let him go. It's a three strikes rule. The second time you run into him, you don't lie. And believe me, if you're supposed to work with him, you'll run into him three times because I believe in karma and fate in my career. The second time you run into him, you don't lie, but you say things that take him in a different direction to like you. Like, hey Steven, remember me? And he remembers the face and you go, I don't remember when was the last time we talked. Was it at Cannes Film Festival or was it at the Oscars 2 years ago? I'm not really remembering. He remembers the face, but he doesn't remember where. I'm not saying that I went to Cannes. I'm not saying I went to the Oscars. I'm just leading him down a path to remember my face. Then we talk maybe about acting a little bit, but I don't. I still don't say I'm an actor unless he asks. And then even then, I change the subject and I let him go again without giving him my contact. The third time, he already knows you. He already trusts you as a person. You're not a psychotic fan. He will take your reel. He will take your headshot. He will take your script. Three strikes rule.
Mm, that's awesome. There you
It's
go,
hard to let
people.
him go. It's hard to let him go when it's a star that you wrote the script for, and you have been. But you have to have trust, faith that if he's meant to be in it, you run into him again and use the three strikes rule, and he'll do your film,
Mm,
or at least
good.
read it.
Shoot. Well, I've learned so much tonight. Today with talking to you
Me too.
and it's awesome. Not just myself, but other viewers that are watching. We got directors here watching. We have people that been in the industry as well here watching. So
Good, good. Well, you guys, Facebook friend me. You'll find me. I look so Brooklyn. You can't miss me. Robert Amico. And we can talk there, and you can see all I'm doing, and you can see the advice I always give and my thought for
right,
the day. It helps people. It's a struggle. It's really hard. Acting is really a struggle. I've been to studio over the years, the greatest actors in the world, better than Brando, that gave up because they don't have the tenacity to deal with the struggle of trying to get a support job, paying the rent, putting gas in the car, eating. They don't know how to
right,
deal with it. But every star had that, and it broke when they were deepest in it. Even Dustin. Dustin told me he got
yeah.
a chance to audition for The Graduate. He had $27 in his pocket. He hitchhiked across the country to come to LA and screen test, knowing that the script wanted a blonde haired, handsome young Robert Redford. And he's this
Mm.
young, short Jewish guy with a big schnoz. And he hitchhiked all the way across, did the screen test, hitchhiked all the way home. By the time he got home, he had the message that he got The Graduate, and the rest is history.
Wow. Wow. So Lawrence Monroe's asking,
Uh,
uh,
I
what's a legitimate agency to reach out to?
It's kind of like a pair of shoes. You got to find the one that fits you. But the way to find the one that fits you is if you're a SAG member. I don't know now with COVID, but if you're a SAG member, they allowed you to go up to the agency department and look through all the books and see. Now you can do it on IMDb Pro and see all the people that agent represents. Find an agency that doesn't have your type. So you can be the only one at that agency, and that's the agencies you caught. For me, my agent is always my best friend. I always found for me, women were better for me.
Right.
They didn't give me a
Same
hard
here.
time. But I have to say, in LA, I have really big agents, both theatrically and commercial, and I'm still getting my own work. I need to have an agent to show that somebody believes in me, but in LA, it's all about the networking. I get all the
Yes.
work networking. I hardly audition, but I get
Right.
offered work, so why audition? But yeah, that's it. That's it. Just the thing with an agent. This is what I teach with an agent. People mail in their headshot. They never hear, and they think that agent rejected you. There's a very good possibility, probably more than less, that agent never saw your headshot. That agent fell behind that day in meetings and took all those manila envelopes and threw them out knowing I'll get another 100 the next day for representation. You're thinking they rejected you and they never saw you. So this is the way you get an agent wherever Miami, wherever you are. You pick it's best to do it on a Friday, but a weekday is kind of okay too. After 5 o'clock. And in New York, a lot of agents are all in down, some in Midtown. I would take the Midtown ones and I'd prep my packages to give to them. And I would go to the 4 or 5 in this certain area, West 40th and West 50th. You walk it in. You walk it in. No matter what they say, oh, no visits and everything, you walk it in. That's for that sign is for everybody but you. And you walk it in. Now I'm going to backtrack. What do you walk in? Your headshot with a handwritten note, because a handwritten note shows your emotion. A handwritten note, and you write it to either the head agent or the owner of the agency. And I'll explain why. When you walk in, not in an envelope, you hand it to the reception. After you go after 5, because chances are everybody's gone except for the owner and lead agent. On a Friday, they're closing up everything because they're going out to the Hamptons or something. So chances are you will get a mini interview with the owner of the agency when you walk in. He'll take the time with you. If you took the time to walk in and all of this, and you hand him that where he can read it right there. It's not an envelope where he throws it on the side, and maybe he'll open it, maybe he won't. If he's not there and the receptionist is there, there's no envelope. She'll put it on his desk like that. And that allows the other agents that are junior agents there to be nosy and they could read it because it's not in an envelope. And they may want to pick up on you and rep you, even though they're a junior agent there. So, and that's what you do when you walk them in. And you'll get an agent. If you do that 3 Fridays in a row, and you do 5 on Friday in the same areas after 5 o'clock, in 2 to 3 weeks, you will have an agent. And I've never failed any of my students.
Wow.
Oh,
Whoa, that's amazing. So,
amazing. I know you got
so
to go.
yeah, we're running out of time, but Robert, I am honored to have you on the show. Thank you so much for your time. I'm definitely going to bring you back because there's more that we need to talk about. Because I want to talk about those awards you got sitting behind you and some other.
Yeah, and you can see, and, oh yeah, my free Telly Awards and my Lifetime Achievement Award and my certificate from the for my 50 years and one from the county and all sorts of shit. I got so many of these things. I papered my bathroom with them. And these are really cool because I use two of these to hold my doors open, and one I keep under the seat of my car. If anybody cuts me off, I clang them over the head with it. And that's what those
Oh
awards
my
are
God.
for.
That's
but you,
crazy.
but you, Victor, if you can call anytime if you're struggling with something, you need help on your shoot when you're in Baltimore. We can talk privately about, you're having problem with the scene and stuff,
Okay,
and I'll
that's it.
coach you through it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Robert. And thank you because
And
I know
everybody else, Facebook friend me.
you. Oh no, trust me.
Facebook
After today,
friend me. You'll
you're
see
gonna
all
have
the
people.
celebrity friends.
Yes, you're gonna have a lot of people friend requesting you.
Great.
Yeah.
I don't, good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. I love actors. I love directors. I love people. I want to help. I want to help. So yeah,
Cool. Awesome. So
collective
thank you
career.
for yeah. So Robert, thank you for coming on the show. You have been fabulous, and we're going to talk
Anytime.
some more off the show, and I'll bring you back in a couple months and see exactly what you're doing, what other projects you're working on to keep helping promote your stuff, and put you out there as well.
Sure. and, and I hope I helped in a way. I hope I didn't let you down.
No, you did. You did fabulous. You did great. You gave us a lot of great pointers, um, and you hit the right points. You know, the things that we needed to talk about.
Good luck to
So
everybody out there. Tenacity, tenacity. Everyone will have an acting career if they stick it out through the hard stuff. You
right,
know,
right,
just tenacity. Stick by it. Work on your craft. Train. Be humble. Don't let ego take the best of you because that destroys most people. Not only as an actor, but as a person. There's so much narcissism here. I think I call it the me state. And everybody here should be called Mimi. Me, 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 me. Oh, hi, Mimi.
yeah. Right. So
What I miss about New York actors and Boston actors and Chicago actors is that they help each other. In LA, nobody they put your foot on your head. In New
yeah,
York, if I auditioned for a role I know wasn't right for me, but I know it was right for my friend. Hey Charlie, you gotta go down over to what's her name's casting right now. There's a role that I auditioned for, but it's perfect for you. In LA, there's no way they would say, Mum, selfishness.
right.
So
Yeah.
I
Well,
miss, that East Coast actors.
yeah. Well,
We help each
you
other.
know,
We all raise up from the fire.
that's right. I
Okay,
always
go. You
say,
gotta go. You got your other guests waiting.
yeah. So thank you for coming on the show, everyone. Robert Amico, thank you for coming on the show, and we'll see you
One
soon.
more saying. One more saying. One more
Okay.
saying. Remember, a horse is drawn to water, but a pencil must always be lead. There you go. See
Good
you later.
night.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye. Yes, everybody. That was Robert Amico. Great guy. Listen, this is what I'm talking about. Amazing, amazing people like this great guy, Robert. Been in the industry over 50 years, directed, writer, producer, has worked with some of the toppest actors in Hollywood. You guys can check him out. Go on his page, check out the movies that he's played in, produced, directed. And like he said, you guys can reach out to him. He's available. He is busy as well. So if he doesn't reply right away, doesn't mean he's ignoring you. It's just partly he's busy. And I'm pretty sure he'll reply right back. So big shout out and thanks to Robert Amico for coming on the show today. I really appreciate that. So people, still tune in at 5 p.m. We have another amazing person coming to the show. He's a songwriter by the name of Sammy Lee Hill. He has a theme song that's out, and it's hitting all platforms. So people tune in at 5 and find out what Sammy Lee Hill has going on. You guys been great. Make sure you guys tune in at 5 p.m. with Sammy Lee Hill. He's also an ex-police officer. So we'll talk about his career as well as a police officer, but mostly a songwriter. So we'll be talking to him at 5 p.m. So people tune in and go take a break, eat something, and tune back in at 5 o'clock. I'll be here. I'm going to take a break, and then I'll be back at 5 o'clock with Sammy Lee Hill. And people, the person that is actually going to sing this theme song is an international artist. She's from Mexico. She's worldwide. We'll be talking about that too, and you guys are going to find out exactly who she is. Okay, that got this song from Sammy Lee Hill. All right, guys. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys at 5 p.m. It's your boy Don Vic from the Don Vic Show. Remember to share, because sharing is caring. And I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, guys. So peace, love, respect, and I'll see you at 5 o'clock. Here we go.